Happy Tuesday! It's time for coffee and cursey words, and we're trying out something different with coffee and cursey words. Normally, we do kind of a deep dive into a particular lawsuit or whatever. Today, we are diving into what some lawyers have been up to land themselves in the news because I'm fascinated by the legal shenanigans that have been going on. So, we're going to talk about that guy in Michigan who got sanctioned by the court. We're going to talk about a lawyer leaving big law over a lawsuit that he filed that is replete with quotes from books like George Orwell. You're like, wait, there's quotes? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And a header that says gaslighting, but we'll get into it. Tiger Mom, and not just Tiger Mom, the woman who wrote the book, Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mom, is in the news because she is a professor at Yale Law. There is some controversy over what the news is calling booze-fueled parties. Apparently she's on like a social ban and her husband's on a 2-year ban for alleged impropriety. A whole thing. It's a whole thing. So we have a lot of different stories to talk about, and then questions, and of course, my thoughts on, YouTube's biggest night in boxing. Maybe we talk about YouTube drama when there's a lawsuit generally, but this fight, look, we've talked about Triller enough. This was a Showtime boxing fight. So we're going to talk about just a little bit because I watched it. So I'm going to give you my thoughts. Just a little. Hey there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer and everyone's favorite legal commentator. I'm the host of The Emily Show, and I break down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I should warn you, I'm a big fan of the cursey words. This channel is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not fuckery. All right, so I know we talk about facts, not fuckery. We're going to start with a little bit of fuckery. Warning, we're starting with just a little bit. Will you guys put in the chat if you watched the fight between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul? Just what emoji do we want? I don't know, put a 1. Or are there boxing gloves? Is there a boxing gloves emoji? I don't know. Y'all pick. Put something in the chat and let me know if you watch this fight. We ended up watching the fight because, I played some of the intros, the lead up to the fight, because I was trying to explain to my husband the got your hat thing. And I was trying to explain that I thought it was very interesting that, you guys are like, no. 1. That's what, there is a boxing glove emoji. Thank you, Red Bag Read Books. Thank you. No. Yes, it was an exhibition. That is a fair point. It was an exhibition. Nope. But heard it was boring. Yep. Nope. Stupid. I will tell you why we watched it. A few of y'all watched it. I'll tell you why, and then I'll give you my thoughts, and then we'll move on. Y'all are like, nope. Yep. Nope. No. First of all, this was a Showtime fight, not a Triller fight. I was fascinated. I was trying to explain to my husband the Jake Paul involvement in this, and that Jake Paul, I thought, was trying to get into the headspace of Floyd Mayweather to give his brother a better opportunity. So his brother doesn't have to deal with like the head games nonsense leading up to a big boxing match like that, but you get your brother causing nonsense. And so at one of the press conferences, Jake Paul grabbed grabbed Floyd Mayweather's hat and got into a scuffle with Floyd Mayweather and his security detail. It looks like he got punched a couple times by either Floyd Mayweather or by security. Mayweather had a lot to say about it. Then Jake Paul went into a Clubhouse room, which is an audio only app that has now been opened for Android. Floyd Mayweather was talking on Clubhouse. Clubhouse is like a thing. I haven't been on Clubhouse in weeks. I feel terrible. I miss my morning coffee group, but it's been busy and it's summer here. And so new schedule. But then he went into a Clubhouse room and went on stage and was like, got your stage, and was doing this whole, doing literally the most to try to get under Floyd Mayweather's skin. Apparently Mayweather at some point in an interview, like threatened Jake Paul's life and was like, meh. And I'm like, whatever. So Jake Paul was like just being an annoying asshole online. But I think that was totally the goal, was to get under Floyd Mayweather's skin when he should be focusing on boxing, and his brother could focus on the fight. So the fight ended up going 8 3-minute rounds. It was not super exciting. My husband and I generally watch MMA. I haven't watched boxing in a long time. Boxing is slow. It really is. And it was an exhibition, so they weren't really scoring it. It looked like Floyd Mayweather was hanging out for 24 minutes to get $100 million. That's what they're estimating he walked away with, was $100 million. So he was just kind of like, At the end of the fight, Logan Paul's face looked worse than Floyd Mayweather's face. Floyd Mayweather said that Logan was better than he thought he would be. And Logan said Floyd Mayweather was harder to hit than he thought he would be. It was what it was. If your goal going into the fight, my goal going into the fight, if your goal going into the fight was to see Logan punched in the face and the Showtime stream didn't go out, then you probably got to see Logan Paul get punched in the face. And you got to see Floyd Mayweather, as he said in the press conference multiple times, you get to see Floyd Mayweather execute a legalized bank robbery, as he called it. He was like, this is a heist. This is a YouTuber who's not doing any damage to me, and I got $100 million. He's like, the trunks he walked out in, the sponsored trunks he walked out in, were $100 million. He was sitting at the press conference going, I don't care what you write about me. I don't care what you write about this exhibition. I don't care if you think my legacy is tainted. I don't care what you think. I'm walking away, and my bank account's looking better and better. And I was like, get your bag, Floyd Mayweather. Not mad at all. Not mad about it at all. So it looks like he made a ton of money. Logan Paul, they're saying, made about $20 million. I mean, a lot of people would be like, I'll get punched. I mean, I'm not one of them, but a lot of people would be like, I'll get punched in the face a couple times for $20 million. Sure. For 24 minutes, if I last that long, worth it. Lynn's put out one of his lines from that press conference was, my kids can't eat legacy. He's talking about building generational wealth for his kids and his family. I respect the hustle. I really do. I respect the hustle. The fight was boring. I think Mayweather wanted the fight to go the distance for the entertainment value of it all. But also, Floyd Mayweather is 5 foot. I put it up on Twitter, like the disparities, and then we'll move on. But the disparities, of course, I don't have Twitter pulled up. The disparities in the size of these gentlemen is so ridiculous when it comes to fighting. And look, I know what a height disparity feels like in a sport. I played men's water polo in high school. Look, it was fine my freshman and sophomore year when everybody's around about 5'6". Something happens at like 16, 17 years old, and then everybody's 6 foot. And I'm still 5'6". It was not easy keeping up with much larger individuals. And then I went to play women's water polo in college and was like, oh, some of y'all are 6 foot as well. Fantastic. Not prepared. All right, let's get this up. I'm going to just show you the disparities here. First of all, Floyd Mayweather's 44 years old and just got $100 million for fighting. So this is from ESPN Ringside. This is the tale of the tape. This is what I found most fascinating. Floyd Mayweather is 44. Logan Paul is 26. First of all, I thought Logan Paul, he's been around forever. I forget that he's not like 47. Like, I forget that Logan Paul is actually still 26. Jake Paul is 24. They are the same age as David Dobrik. Like, I forget. The record 50-0, 0-1. So Logan Paul hasn't won a fight yet. KO's 27. Fantastic. 5'8" versus 6'2". Look at this reach. Like, as someone who has T-Rex arms that are unusually short for my height, 72-inch reach versus a 76-inch reach. Are you kidding me? Also, 155 pounds, 189. Though they said when Logan Paul stepped into the ring after he had rehydrated, he was probably closer to 200 pounds. I mean, a 50 pounds and a lot of inches is why you saw Logan Paul just kind of laying on Floyd Mayweather to make him tired. Either way, Logan Paul didn't die, so he wins. Floyd Mayweather got $100 million, so he wins. So it's a win-win. Showtime, however, loses. The Showtime stream was fucking horrible. It was horrible. It cut out constantly. I've already requested a refund. I posted a link on my or on Twitter that night for people to go find the refunds. It cut out constantly. It cut out like 4 times in the middle of the main event. So we didn't even see every round of the main event. I'm sure there's stuff we missed. It was clipped down on Twitter afterwards. But the experience of the fight was not good. Showtime did not seem ready. How can you not be ready? Both of these people are like, we're gonna bring the audience. They bring the audience, and everything crashed. I saw other YouTubers that I quite like posting consistently that they could not get on to this fight, missed most of the undercards. The experience, the Showtime boxing experience was terrible. Also, Logan Paul and Jake Paul are now both with Showtime Boxing because Jake jump shipped on Triller. So there you go. If you're drinking coffee this morning, let me know. I have homemade coffee. I haven't had a chance to get to Starbucks this morning because I'm tired. All right, you guys, we're going to move on to lawyers in the news. Lawyers in the news. I have a YouTube clip. Should we do the YouTube clip first? I think so. Let me know if you're drinking coffee. Let me know if we're doing the clip first. Young Fox said, already got a refund. I said, fuck that. Yeah, it was awful. The fight experience, the watching experience on Showtime was awful. I wonder how much money Showtime's going to lose on paying them out. And I wonder how pissed, like if I'm Mayweather and Paul, they both get a percentage of the pay-per-view sales. Now, they should still get a percentage of the pay-per-view sales prior to the refunds because it's not their fault that Showtime literally shit the bed on getting this stream out in a functioning way. They have no control over that. So they should still get a cut. But there might be some wrangling because Showtime's going to have to refund a lot of people, like a lot of people. I see people drinking water and tea and coffee, except for the lovely Sarah Daggett, who's drinking champagne on a plane. I have not drank champagne on a plane in a while, but I always enjoy drinking champagne on a plane. Jasmine tea, coffee, cold brew. I know it's definitely that time of year for cold brew. Doreen, have my dunks. I don't even know where there's a dunks near to me. I need to find one. It's been a while. Fat old housewife. I like it. Coffee and a little of the devil's lettuce, which the name just makes me giggle. Devil's lettuce. It just does. Soda pop, coffee. Ooh, ginger beer. I love ginger beer, Carla. It is a favorite. Red Bull peach nectarine 8 p.m. I see you must be younger than me. I feel like Red Bull might give me a heart attack at this point. Gotta stay hydrated. Yes, you do have to stay hydrated. It is that time of year. I just got all the warnings about kids going to camp, and I'm like, yeah, my kid's not going to camp this week because he broke his shoulder. But of the kids staying hydrated. So for sure. White mocha to help me finish my grad school apps. Get it, coconut. You've got this. You guys are liking the purple overlay. Thank you. I like it too. We're accenting everything with purple. All right, let's pull up this video first and go from there. All right. Dan said he already had a pot of coffee. Dan Anderson. I don't know how you do it. I love pineapple booch. Timmy Hortons with rum sounds amazing. It's been a long time since I've been up in Canada. For sure. Ashley Vincent said, Emily, what about people who mix Red Bull with liquor? I used to do that when I was a child, not a child. What I refer to myself as a child when I'm in my 20s. I generally don't refer to myself under the age of 18 very much. But yeah, when I actually could do that, I did that. I couldn't do it now. I sure couldn't, but I used to. I used to love a Red Bull and vodka. But again, I've told y'all I'm basic. There was also a solid societal push towards vanilla vodka and soda when I was in law school. And it was, look, vanilla solely and vodka with a little bit of lime. Anyway, we could talk about drinking all day. We'll save that for Friday Night Live. Let's pull up this video and then I'll tell you the story. This story is coming to us out of, I love that. I don't think I'm a very good fight commentator. The fight commentators were adequately shady though, and I really appreciated the shadiness of it. So I really did. Okay, we're still going to talk about drinks because somebody mentioned coffee and Kahlua. I love an Irish coffee too. I love coffee with booze. Boozy coffee will get me every time. It's one of the things I loved about our Alaska cruise is that somehow it was like, but it's cold outside, so you should obviously drink alcohol in the morning. We're on a cruise ship. Like there's nowhere to go. Obviously, that's what needs to happen. I thought it was great. All right, let me share this video clip from YouTube because we are going to talk about what happened at this hearing, and then we're going to talk about the fines that came, and I've got to make sure I can share this with audio, which takes like a different button combination than otherwise. All right, let me know if you can hear it. I'm going to show you the beginning a little bit, and then we're going to get into the action as it were. This is coming from the Michigan Court of Appeals on YouTube. This is a Court of Appeals panel of 3 judges. Look, when I say federal judges don't play, federal judges don't play. Like when we talk about Babs and stuff, federal judges don't play. But this is a panel of appellate judges who play even less. Appellate judges, like these gentlemen all look very kind and very nice. But appellate judges tend to be a little serious. And an appeals court is a big deal. It's formal. Look, there are light moments in court. Yes. State courts, court by court tend to be a little less formal. Federal courts more so. Appeals courts more so. So as you will notice, there are the 3 panels of judges and the 2 litigants who are dealing with an appeal over insurance something. You know, you see that the judges all have blue screen backgrounds at the benches. Who knows where they're appearing from? Hopefully home. And then these 2 attorneys. This attorney does not love what this attorney has to say, but then a 3rd individual pops up, and that is the one who we will be talking about. Let me know if you can hear.
Instructions that an order granting summary disposition be entered in my favor based on my client's favor, based on expiration of the statute of limitations.
Mark's not having it.
You may have.
If you look at Mark's face through this whole argument, he's just like, no, bro, no.
Tried to go through this pretty quickly.
Yeah. I have a question. Sure. My understanding of the record, Mr. Kamenak, is
so appeals courts deal with things on the record. So they get the entire record from the trial court and then they hear oral argument, which is what they're doing now. The judges are more interactive. They're going to ask questions. They're going to try to figure out the heart of the thing. They're going to be like, what about this? What about that? And so this is what they're doing in this hearing. I'm going to speed up just a little bit till we get our next party popping in, and you'll see somebody else popping into the Zoom call while they are going through these arguments. Keep an eye on Mark and then our other lawyer that shows up here. Mark is not having it. Carrie Williams was like, I've been an appellate attorney for 15 years. They don't play. No. Appeals court judges are very much more serious than other judges. There's like a level of judge seriousness. Carrie, I'll love to hear what you have to think about this.
Statute of limitations is still running as of today. So all dates are barred.
Well, it was accepted by the trial court, wasn't it?
It was accepted under the notion that
they're talking about statutes of limitations and whether it stopped or not. This dude, this is who we're going to be talking about. Clearly, he has someone helping him get into this court hearing. I don't know if he knows he's on camera based on his body language or if he just doesn't give any fucks. Unclear to me.
the trial court could accept.
Right, but you're saying as an affirmative statement.
So James Hose, I think it's Heroes, is the lawyer from the trial level. So let's go through this. Why so many judges? It is a appellate panel. So there are 3. They can sit in bonk with more, but this is an appellate court. So what the case is about, insurance. It's about insurance. The case is not the heart of the thing.
That there was no affidavit of merit filed, and
we're looking for his actions.
I think the effectiveness of it is
and his actions.
Question, but there clearly was an affidavit filed, I think, on May 11th.
Right, there was, and might be more precise, Your Honor, the affidavit of merit standing alone has.
I think he said to be more precise, Your Honor, not be more precise, Your Honor. But Mark's not having it and James isn't having it. And then watch what James does next.
It's no effect. It has to be filed
Mark is like,
contemporaneous with the complaint. And the affidavit of merit that was filed was after the 28 days for an extension.
By the time we get to the appellate level, these attorneys could have been dealing with each other for years. So I don't know the backstory of Mark's level of annoyance, but even Mark's level of annoyance is just like, it's a lot for the appellate court because a lot of litigants sitting in court might not gesture so much about it.
It was after the statute of limitations, at least as to the May date. I think we agree on that.
Right, as the May date, I understand.
May date.
Mark doesn't agree.
But it
Clearly,
was,
on the April, or the July 23rd is the one I have a question on.
and all I'm trying to say is it was never filed with a complaint that was legitimately, there was no order granting leave to appeal, strike that, leave to file the amendment.
Also, personal pet peeve. As an attorney, you don't get to strike it. You just ask, may that be stricken? But this is the attorney's way of saying, rewind. I didn't say what I just said. Let me move forward. So that's why he's striking it of his own motion. But it happens. So Mark is not having it. Let's keep an eye on James because he's about to get himself sanctioned by the court.
Complaint. So the best the plaintiff has is an unauthorized complaint in which the affidavit of merit that was already late, already outside the 28 days for an extension was filed with the court.
So James has sat up, the court blurred it. James has now sat forward on the corner here and is doing this to the camera. That's what's happening. That is what's happening. So Mark's body language is very telling, but James is now doing this to the camera. Watch for the judge's reactions.
My point is, on a legal basis, forget the factual that I went through on the complaint, that's insufficient.
All right, thank you.
He even took off his glasses to flip off the camera. Judge Borrello is not having any of it.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, I was going to mention this. It appeared, Judge Burrell, I hate to interrupt, but for some reason we have a new addition to this.
So first they're going to be like, who the fuck are you? And then we're going to go from there.
This argument, is it Mr. Harros, James Harros? I'm wondering why.
I think he would.
Also, his name is spelled wrong. I think he spelled his own name wrong coming into the Zoom room. I think it's Heros, but okay.
His trial counsel.
He's trial counsel for the plaintiffs, Your Honor.
Trial counsel for the plaintiffs, meaning Mark is going to be plaintiff's counsel for the appeal, and he was trial counsel for plaintiffs. So these two would be on the kind of same side of the issue.
Okay, thank you. I was unaware, but I just suddenly in the middle of the argument, we had somebody pop into this Zoom. I wasn't sure who the person was, so I appreciate that.
And he's got his fountain soda. Like he's just, hold on. James is just living his best life, drinking a pop soda. Wait, where'd he go? Oh, it's too far. All right. We're going to keep going. He's sitting there, arms crossed, just not having any of this.
The plaintiff has is an unauthorized complaint.
And here we go.
The affidavit of merit that was already
Look,
late,
he sits up and then it blurs.
28 days for an extension was filed with the court. My point is, on a legal.
You can see when you watch this, and I'll link the video, you can see the hand move in front of the camera and the judge's faces.
Forget the factual that I went through on the complaint. That's insufficient.
All right. Thank you.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, I was going to mention this.
And then he starts drinking a soda, which kills me. Which kills me.
We have a new addition to this this argument. Is it Mr. Harros, James Harros? I'm wondering why.
I think he was trial counsel.
He's trial counsel for the plaintiffs, Your Honor.
Okay, yeah, Rob's like, I'm going to tell you exactly who he is. Look at him.
The argument.
Look at him. Just
pop into this Zoom.
Boo boo, they're talking to you. The panel is addressing who you are. Maybe listen to them. Maybe.
Wasn't sure who the person was, so I appreciate that.
Well, if I could, Judge,
Go ahead.
I thought I saw him raise his middle finger while counsel was making an argument.
Mark's laughing and Rob's laughing. You know why? Because they know what the fuck that they saw. Judge Redford is trying to keep it together, but they know what happened. And I also think that this is an uncomfortable laugh for everybody because it's like, oh no, this didn't just happen. Like, this did not just happen. In all of the wild courtroom moments I have had, most of them weren't perpetrated by the lawyers. I mean, except that one time that somebody came into court in handcuffs, the defense attorney, but that's a whole story for a different day. Let's keep going.
And if that's true, or if that's what he did, acting like a 5-year-old, I would suggest we eliminate.
My 5-year-olds don't flip people off. I think maybe acting like a teen, but I understand Judge Borrello's point, and I will not take him to task. Judge Redford looks like he cannot keep it together right now.
Him from this.
Is that true?
Judge Cameron's like, what the fuck did you do? Judge Redford is, I like that he's composing himself. He's like,
no, I was pointing at the computer.
so he doubles down. It comes up. It comes up in the later reporting on this.
It does not work.
Uh-huh. Sure, bro.
I apologize.
That's not what I saw, but whatever.
Here's the thing. It's on video. So him doing this to the camera is different than doing this. He did this. He flipped he was keeping up international relations. It was communications. I was communicating. He was inverted. If you don't get the reference, I'm sorry. The chat will fill you in. He was inverted.
I'll take him at his word.
I appreciate that the appellate judges are like, I'll take him at his word, and they didn't get into it until they sanctioned him $3,000. But we'll get there.
Your Honor, if there are other questions.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Kamenek. Like I said, I caught it out of the corner of my eye. I thought it was highly
Mr. Harris, is that correct?
disrespectful.
You did not gesture with your middle finger. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
He is sitting there defiant AF.
Guess we'll find out. Mr. Kamenek, I think we.
Judge Cameron was about to say, guess we'll find out. But they do. This is a fuck around and find out situation.
I sense that you were concluding your argument. I don't want to cut you off.
I am, first of all, thank you, Judge Borrello. And you did not cut me off. I was just answering any questions you may have.
All right. Anything further, Judge Borrello, Judge Redford?
No, Judge Redford asked the question that I was interested in.
So then this continues on with them discussing their case, and then he pops off the Zoom call very quickly, but he's still got that whole, like, I'm just kicked back. I'm waiting for him to put his feet up on the desk, and then he magically pops back off of the Zoom call. I don't know if the panel bounced him off, because it doesn't look to me like it doesn't look like he did it. It doesn't look like he leaned forward and turned off his Zoom call. I think the panel kicked him out of the Zoom room, or the court administrator kicked him out of the Zoom room. Yes, it could be technical difficulties, but he did not, it seems to me, lean forward and turn this off. So he's going to bump out of the Zoom room in just a second. It seems like his hands are folded on the table, and then in a second, blink, he's gone. So I don't think he's the one who took himself out of the Zoom room. I think the court administrator kicked him out of the Zoom room. So let me know what you think as it comes right up on him. Boop. I think he got bounced. So Michigan attorney flips the bird to a three-judge panel of the Michigan Court of Appeals. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the sanction. Now, First of all, this lawyer says that he has been an attorney for over 46 years. And he told media sources that he is not very computer savvy and that he thought the screen was blank and they couldn't see him. So this is 100% the tube and Zoom call situation where he's like, I'm not going to say I didn't do it. What I'm going to say is I didn't think you could see me do it. And so this attorney's statement after the video came out was essentially, I didn't think you could see me. So I didn't think that you could see me, and that's what it is. So we're going to go to Twitter, because Twitter can be a toxic cesspool, or it can be all of the comedy in the world. So we're going to go to all of the comedy in the world from appellate lawyer. Hold on, as I have to reshare my screen so it doesn't have audio. See, sometimes it's hard out here. So Rafi is a appellate attorney. When you go to his RMF Fifth Circuit, he's an appellate attorney in the Fifth Circuit. One world, if you gesticulate a little too much during oral argument, the judges will enter this transgression into the great book of your reputation, and it will take eons to erase it. So even when I said that the other attorney was sitting there like, no, and like kind of gesturing, that in appellate land, it's sometimes even with trial courts, that can be a problem. The judges don't want to see you just being like, are you for real right now? Especially when it's other counsel arguing or the court arguing. You have to compose. Sometimes it's hard. It is very hard when somebody's just spewing all kinds of bullshit and you have to arrange your face to not sit there being like, anyway. So this definitely captures that sometimes if you gesticulate too much, it can be a problem, and it goes into the great book of your reputation. Another world, just flipping the bird to the Court of Appeals. Here is the order from the Court of Appeals from the state of Michigan. This is the case that they are talking about. An insurance case regarding a doctor. Is it the doctor who actually posted this? No, this is from NC Cyber Law. Anyway, let's take a look at what the court said on its own motion. The court orders that counsel for plaintiffs attorney James I was wrong. It is James Hose, Heos. Can we order grant? I'm granting my own motion. Motion to refer to the attorney as Mr. Hose. Order granted on my own motion. It's probably pronounced differently, but whatever. Attorney fucks can be glad that we have now named this attorney Hose, so it's fine. Is directed to pay $3,000, and in most states, that is enough to have to report yourself to disciplinary action with the state bar as well. But again, in the spectrum of bad, like, yes, flipping off the Court of Appeals is bad, but it's not Tom Girardi bad. It's bad, but it's not Tom Girardi bad. It is disrespectful. Is directed to pay $3,000 to this court for his conduct during oral argument on May 11th, as clearly reflected in the remote videotaped record of the proceedings. Attorney Hose raised his middle finger towards the camera while opposing counsel was arguing. When members of this panel questioned Attorney Hose regarding his obscene gesture, he denied doing so, which is going to piss the judges off even more. Because again, pointing at the camera to your assistant, even if you're pointing with your middle finger, which my grandmother did all the time, even if you're pointing with your middle finger, this or this is different than this. I mean, they're different. He was full on, you saw his hand go like this. Obscene gesture. He denied doing so, although the record plainly reflects that he did so. See, and that's the thing. The lying about the thing is more of a problem, I think, than the actual thing. Yes, you do not flip off opposing counsel or a 3-panel, appellate panel of judges, but lying about it is way worse. When members of this panel questioned Attorney Hose regarding his obscene gesture, he denied doing so, although the record plainly reflects that he did so. The lawyer's oath requires counsel to swear or affirm that he will maintain the respect due to courts of justice and judicial officers, abstain from all offensive personality. Don't have an offensive personality. Everyone who's ever met lawyers is laughing right now. Everyone who knows lawyers. Everyone who's known lawyers is laughing right now. Also, these are Michigan words. Abstain from all offensive personality and conduct myself personally and professionally in conformity with the high standards of conduct imposed upon members of the bar as conditions for privilege to practice law in this state. And practicing law is, in fact, a privilege. Mr. Hose exhibited shameful disrespect to the court and to opposing counsel in his offensive gesture and his dishonest replies to the court's inquiries. The dishonesty, again, bigger issue for me than the actual flipping of the bird. Also, lawyers think this shit all the time. Lawyers think this shit in their head all the time. You're like, you got to be fucking kidding me right now. I can't believe you're arguing this. What is happening? And then you process all that through your brain and go, Your Honor, I find counsel's argument on this point disingenuous because in previous arguments they said this, and in this argument they said this, and then this happened. Disingenuous is about as strong as you can get in most court arguments. But not for Mr. Hose. Mr. Hose exhibited shameful disrespect to the court and to opposing counsel in his offensive gesture and his dishonest replies to the court's inquiries. Counsel's conduct displayed a general lack of civility and respect for the court. True story. Which is prohibited by the Michigan Rules of Professional Conduct, including Michigan Rule Professional Conduct 3.5D, which provides that a lawyer shall not, quote, engage in undignified or discourteous conduct toward the tribunal. I think that flipping the tribunal, the bird, counts as undignified and discourteous. It is not okay. Further, Mr. Hose violated Michigan Rule of Professional Conduct 3.3A1, which provides that a lawyer shall not knowingly make a false statement of material fact or law to a tribunal. You can't fucking lie to the court. Look, the judicial system works based on honesty, and you cannot lie to the court. Now, I have seen lawyers skate this line in a very thin gray, very finely crafted answer that might technically be true, but may be somehow misleading. I don't like that either. If the court asks you a direct question, you give them a direct answer. But I was a criminal attorney. There was no hiding the ball. Like, you don't play, peekaboo with the appellate court. You don't hide the facts. You just, if they ask you, did you flip off the camera? Be like, oh shit, my camera's on. Just be honest. I didn't think my camera was on. Clearly, at that point, they saw you. And being a lawyer means thinking on your feet. Lying, the first response was a lie. Ooh. So yeah, you can't lie to the tribunal. Accordingly, we admonish counsel for his disrespectful conduct and determine that sanctions are warranted for his contempt of court, not his contempt for the proceedings. That word can be used in multiple facets here, I think. And then they cited the law. Of course they did, because appellate court. They cited the law about contempt committed in the immediate view and presence of the court may be punished summarily by fine, imprisonment, or both. Just a reminder, Hose, be happy you're not in jail. In light of counsel's behavior, we direct the clerk of this court to refer Attorney Hose to the Attorney Grievance Commission. The judges are like, you need to go talk to your boss, which is going to be their Attorney Grievance Commission, which is probably, reporting you to the state bar or the equivalent of such for investigation regarding this conduct. The problem is the lying is going to be more, I think the lying will be more of an issue. Attorney Hose told the Detroit Free Press that he had already paid the fine. And of course, the Detroit Free Press, instead of sharing the video blurred out of him flipping the bird, shares cat lawyer Like cat lawyer is what's shared above this story. It's a very embarrassing situation, said Hose74, who said he already mailed his check to the clerk of the court. I've been a lawyer for 46 years. I've never been accused of inappropriate, unruly, or rude conduct in a courtroom. Well, you never thought you weren't on camera. When you're in a courtroom, you know you're in a courtroom. I don't think he meant for them to see it. I really don't. But the thing is, you're on Zoom. And if you're technologically challenged, maybe don't think that you're clever. And also, if you can see your own face on Zoom, they can see you too. He thought he was giving the finger to his blank computer screen, which was not working. You know, let's just take a minute. Could we just get back to Zoom Cat? Hold on. Let's see if I can get sound on this. Let's just get back to Zoom Cat. I miss Zoom Cat. Let's just have a Zoom Cat moment. We haven't watched Zoom Cat together. I talked to the Zoom Cat judge on Twitter. He was lovely. Let's have a moment for Zoom Cat. Hold on. And then we'll get back to we'll get back to the rest of the story since now the ads have laid. Let's just. A lawyer had an awkward encounter during a virtual hearing with a Texas judge who was lovely and treated the attorney with, respect and dignity. And counsel actually kept their face composed. And this video was released by the court in Texas as a learning moment. So if you guys haven't seen this, have you seen Zoom Cat? If you haven't seen Zoom Cat, put a 1 in the chat. If you have seen Zoom Cat, give me a cat emoji. Cat emoji.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings.
The eyes.
Take a look.
Can you hear me, Judge?
It's the eyes. It's the eyes for me. It's the eyes. It's the eyes. I can't. It's the eyes. I can't. It's the eyes looking down at me like, Your Honor. It's the eyes for me. It's the eyes. Okay, let's keep going.
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat. Oh, we're gonna just back up again so you can watch his little cat eyes try to figure it out because it's hilarious.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Judge Ferguson was great. And moments happen in court. Judge Ferguson, by the way, is very funny on Twitter. If you don't follow him on Twitter, he's very funny on Twitter and talks about access to justice quite a lot. Important Zoom tip. If a child used your computer before you join a virtual hearing, check the Zoom video options to be sure filters are off. This kitten just made a formal announcement on a case in the 394th. Sound on Law Twitter. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Anyway, I think it's a funny little video. I love that USA Today put this video up ahead of somebody actually being disrespectful to the court, because I don't think cat lawyer meant to be disrespectful to the court. I think it was an accident, like an actual accident. But the rest of the article goes on to say that this 74-year-old attorney who's been a lawyer for 46 years has never been and never had an issue with misconduct. But also, normally when you're in a courtroom, you keep that shit in your head when you want to flip people off, because there's times you want to, you just can't do it. Impulse control as an attorney is very important. Hose, who works for the Nicholas Law Firm, said Friday he was caught off guard and should have been more forthright in saying he was not just pointing at his screen, he was giving the middle finger. He said he is technologically challenged, which has nothing to do with lying. Truthfully, technologically challenged has nothing to do with just being like, the only thing I can really do is generate my emails. Great, but you generated the bird just fine. Just fine. And he had been assured it would be working for this important hearing in a medical malpractice case. I had a pitching wedge in the corner. I don't know what any of this has to do with anything, he says. I had a pitching wedge in the corner. I wanted to pick up that pitching wedge and just break that computer. What's a pitching wedge? Is it a golf club? Is it help? Is it a golf club? I don't know what a pitching wedge is. Okay. I had a pitching wedge in the corner. I wanted to pick up the pitching wedge and break the computer. Well, you did what you did. You did what you did. Thank you. It only makes sense in the story if it's a golf club. So I appreciate all of you. Thank 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 you to everyone in the chat who knows what golf clubs are. Sarah was the first one. Thank you, everybody. So what else did he say? Hose, who represented the plaintiff during the earlier trial stage of the case, the plaintiff being the one who's suing a doctor in that case, was not one of the lawyers participating in oral argument, but his image appeared on the screen midway through the hearing. The judge interrupted oral arguments to ask who the man was. I thought I saw him raise the middle finger while counsel was making his argument, acting like 5-year-old, Judge Barillo said. He denied it. I was pointing at my computer. We saw that. That's not what I saw. I'll take him at his word. But the court apparently later reviewed the video and decided to sanction him. They also blurred the screen image at the time he made the gesture, so members of the public who reviewed it cannot see him flipping the bird. Our sensibilities. I did a dramatic reenactment for you, because that's what we do here. With peace and love. With peace and love, Your Honor. I was pointing at the screen. Bloomfield Hills attorney Robert Kemenek, I think, was the opposing counsel who was the perceived target of the gesture. I've never seen anything like this, Kemenek said Friday. He declined to say, I think, whether he had seen the gesture at the time or was offended by it. Well, probably in disbelief. I imagine the laughing that you see from everybody is actual disbelief, like uncomfortable laughing and disbelief. We're going to move on to our next story, which is going to have also some humor if you all have humor with me. Now, I'm going to tell you to do the YouTube-y things. I'm almost an hour in. I haven't said that yet. So we've got almost, over 2,000 people here. Do the likey things and the thumbs uppy things. We're pretty close to this thing turning over. So if you are not subscribed here and you would like to make it bing, now's your chance. We don't have that many left. Can we get to 130,000 today? Can we do it? There's over 2,000 of you all in the chat. Let's see how many we are away from. I'll give you the number exactly. And then we're going to move into the lawyer from my pillow. We only need a few hundred more, y'all. Just go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed. We can see if we can make it bang. All right. Let's move into the My Pillow guy. I'm going to give a disclaimer first. We're going to do that. Look, every time we talk about people with particular and often conservative viewpoints, a lot of the chat turns into Thunderdome. Look, Mike Lindell is kind of secondary and irrelevant to this story other than the fact that it applies to him. He's the My Pillow guy. He is a Trumper. He has filed a whole bunch of lawsuits. There are lawsuits happening. We are talking about his attorney's actions, the words of this lawsuit, because it's written in a very interesting way, and the intersection of what happens when you go against your bosses or the other partners at your firm and file a lawsuit anyway. Look, his opinions and his political beliefs are his own. We are not here to judge, disparage, besmirch, name call, because he's allowed to have his beliefs and you're allowed to think that he sucks. And that's where we're at with that. So he is in multiple lawsuits, and this is what it is. He was sued by Dominion for $1.3 billion in February for defamation. So Dominion Voting Systems says that he defamed them by promoting talks about the Dominion voting systems. And not like, hey, I've got questions, but like, hey, you propagating well, I haven't pulled that lawsuit. I'm not going to speculate as to what the defamation is. Beyond just I have questions. We've gone beyond that. Then he countersued Dominion for $1.6 million, saying that they were imposing on his free speech. So this kind of anti-slap lawsuit. And that's where those lawsuits are. But on July 3rd, June 3rd, we're not in July yet. Jesus, we're losing whole months. In June, he filed another lawsuit. Now, the partner of the law firm left the law firm after the lawsuit was filed, which is fascinating to me. And that's kind of the point. And then we're going to talk about the ridiculousness of this lawsuit a little bit. But the partner of the law firm, so big law, which means big like big law, Barnes and Thornburg's partner, Alec Beck, filed the lawsuit. The law firm says that the partners did not approve it being filed. So they do not want this smoke at all. They want nothing to do with this case. And it's interesting to me because at some point, we are going to see this intersection. And look, I don't care if you think he sucks, his philosophy sucks, any of it. Fine. But everyone is allowed to have legal representation. And I think we're going to start to see law firms divided by politics because we've seen backlash for firms that have worked with former President Trump, where people are like, I don't want to be a client of your firm if you're representing them, which is interesting. And I think we're going to start to see political ideology filter down into law firms and law firms having to decide, does our law firm represent people who publicly have this ideology? And we talked about this with the Amanda Ensing suit as well. Can law firms catch backlash for the people that they represent? However, everyone deserves representation. So it's interesting to me because this did not used to happen. It used to be, oh, well, this person sucks. They deserve a defense. The lawyers are doing their job. And that is not the perception anymore in law, or at least on Twitter. So I think we'll see some of this coming up more, but the law firm said, we didn't say that we would be counsel on this. We did not agree to file this. We want nothing to do with this. And the attorney who filed it left the firm, which is fascinating to me. So we will see. The politicizing of the practice of law is very odd to me. It used to be, hey, I think there's a case here and I can represent it. So let's pull this story back up and get into it. And then we're going to pull up the lawsuit, because the lawsuit is hilarious. It's hilarious. So, I agree with this. Absolutely. This is a dangerous precedent to set. Everyone deserves good legal counsel. You can't cancel culture, a civil right. And I agree with you, but also when we'll be back to this in a second. I talk about this tomorrow in the episode of the podcast, and I talk about this in other things. We're reaching a really interesting intersection where businesses have the right to choose who they work with if it's non-discriminatory. Ideology is not something that's a protected class, and we're seeing further polarization, and it's very odd to me. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys going through this with me and talking it out. So let me pull this back up because it's very, very interesting. And it's interesting that a lawyer had to leave a firm over filing this lawsuit, but also, you as a business have a right to choose who you work with. When it comes to criminal law, it's slightly different, but IB says a partner in my firm talks politics and always trashes a certain political view, and it's so cringe. That is so cringe. And that would be like, at what point does that create a hostile work environment though for others? And hostile work environment, though political ideology is not protected, hostile work environment might actually be a thing where you're like, no, I can't come to work because this other attorney is making it so uncomfortable because they're just spewing vitriol over a political ideology. Because if they were doing that over a religion, it's a very clear-cut case. You cannot do that in the workplace. I think it's the same. I think it can create a hostile work environment. Devil's Advocate said QAnon shaman's lawyer was on CNN and was berated for defending him. Everyone deserves a defense. Look, the right to a lawyer is a absolute and fundamental right. We don't want people prosecuted without lawyers. It's literally part of what our system was built on that we thought sucked. Well, not me. I'm not, been here since the Revolutionary War, but it's one of the things that when the American legal system got its foundation, representation was key to that. And there have been multiple cases to expand representation beyond just the wealthy, and to expand legal representation to literally everyone. Because if you prosecute them for what they're doing, you want the prosecution to stick and they have to have legal counsel. CNN said he doesn't deserve a good lawyer. Everyone deserves a good lawyer, even if they suck. Everyone deserves a good lawyer. It's a fundamental right. So Kelly said, but the lawyer was gross. He deserves a lawyer. But the lawyer did say some horrific stuff. He deserves a lawyer. He also deserves a lawyer that is on his side and not making disparaging comments about mental health. So also agreed, Kelly. All right, let's get back to Alec Beck from Minnesota, who filed this lawsuit against Dominion voting systems. According to Lindell's lawsuit, Smart Tech USA, another maker of voting machine, has engaged in similar weaponizing of the court system to attack other individuals and news outlets merely for publicly sharing information they have gathered regarding vulnerabilities in and attacks on electric voting machines in the 2020 election. The lawsuit begins with a quote from Orwell's 1984 novel. We'll get into the suit in a second. The quote is from the same novel, under a section labeled Gaslighting, the Real Big Lie. So look, we are not going to get into voting machines. We are going to get into the way this lawsuit is written because, oh my God, I've never seen anything like it. And we're going to enjoy the ridiculousness of it. Well, hopefully I'm going to enjoy the ridiculousness of it. I hope you all enjoy it too. So let's pull up this complaint. It's unlike anything I've seen in a different way. We've seen lots. And if you guys want to deep dive on the Lindell lawsuits, I will probably do it as a pre-recorded video because Thunderdome. But if you guys want to break down on all of the different lawsuits, there's Dominion suing him for defamation, him suing Dominion for defamation, and now this with Dominion and Smart Tech and everybody. It's wild. But this complaint filed in the district court in Minnesota is written in a unique way. It's also like 82 pages long. So we're just going to hit some of the highlights. We're not going to get into all of it. Highlights, people, highlights. Overview. Quote from Orwell, 1984. We can only spread our knowledge outwards from individual to individual, generation after generation. In the face of thought police, there is no other way. I have not seen a lawsuit started with a quote ever. Like ever. I have not seen it ever. And there's more quotes as we go on. I've never, and it's replete throughout this complaint which again makes me feel like this complaint is at least half PR piece to get their story across and to get the view that, I don't know, that Dominion whiz in on something. We'll see what the causes of action are, but that this is more than just a lawsuit, that this is a PR piece to tell their story that they want told. using the litigation process to give them some protection. And I have said this against a lot of lawsuits. It's like, oh, you're saying things in here that you might not just be able to say on the street, but you're saying it through the court systems. Okay. So he says he's bringing this lawsuit to stop electronic voting machine companies from weaponizing the litigation process to silence political dissent and suppress evidence. Now, look, if that is the case, then an anti-SLAPP suit. Oh, wait, they're in Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have a SLAPP statute. Just kidding. So SLAPP means strategic litigation against public participation. So it's trying to get someone to shut the fuck up by roping them into the court system when they actually have a legitimate First Amendment right to be speaking. This generally started to stop news media from being silenced through protracted litigation. Then a lot of states, like California, have anti-SLAPP motions where if a lawsuit is filed that seems like a SLAPP suit, you can bring an anti-SLAPP motion. And we talked about this with regard to Shannon Bedore in her lawsuit. But you can bring a lawsuit to say, no, they're just trying to get me to shut up. They actually can't and don't have a standing. And if you win that motion, the lawsuit's over. So you can stop it before it starts. The goal in that being you don't tie litigants up in years-long court processes if it's really a strategic lawsuit to stop them from participating publicly. Minnesota does not have such a statute. That often comes up with regard to defamation. So facts, electronic, okay, well, these are their facts. They're talking about the voting machines. Why is there a photo? Apparently this dude gave testimony, but do we need a screenshot? It's fine. I like receipts. Picture books are good for me. So, all right. Wait, what? Why are we, okay. Why do we need pictures? I like pictures, but also still, I don't know. So they're talking about Senate hearings. I like that they keep saying that these are a fact. These are assertions. These are assertions. It's indisputable that the electronic voting machines and software manufactured and sold by Dominion and Smartech are vulnerable to cyber attack. Okay, look. Okay. Fact. The First Amendment guarantees the right of citizens such as Mike Lindell to express political dissent and espouse beliefs without fear of intimidation, suppression, or punishment from state actors like voting machine companies that provide election equipment and run elections for government agencies. Half fact. Yes, the First Amendment does guarantee the ability to espouse political dissent. That is one of the foundations of our country. You should be able to dissent and dissent loudly without fear of intimidation from government and state actors. Are the private voting machine companies state actors? That's a bigger discussion. Fact, in response to Lindell's public statements about the evidence he had gathered. Oh, he's an investigator now. Okay. Dominion Voting Systems and its lawyers threatened Lindell with financial ruin if he did not cease his public expression of his political speech. Well, they call it defamation. Hence the $1 billion lawsuit regarding the debacle that was the use of the electronic voting machines in the 2020 election. I mean, this is not going to stop. Dominion weaponized the legal process, they say, by threatening to sue over 150 private individuals. What you can't do is just say you're going to sue everybody. But I think Dominion mounted up and then sued like a fuck ton of people, saying you've defamed our business, you've interfered with our business, and therefore you have to stop saying the shit that you said. Dominion definitely got dragged through the mud. I don't know if we've seen the evidence that was warranted or not, and I don't know if we will. I don't know what we'll see. Look, we're going to see these court processes play out. I'm very curious. They talk about smart tech engaging in weaponizing of the court system. I am not for weaponizing of the court system, but also you can sue. they're in a state without an anti-SLAPP law. You have to go through the litigation. I don't know why they are filing this additional lawsuit. I don't understand the thought there other than to say more things. I just don't get it yet. Maybe it will come to me as to why this is the path taken, but I just don't get it yet. They talk about the audit going on in Arizona. They talk about other forensic audits. Fine. Parties. Mike Lindell is an individual citizen of the state of Minnesota. Dominion is Dominion Voting Systems Corporation. So they're suing all the different business entities under Dominion and Smart Tech and SGO Corporation Limited, which is organized in the UK, which will be interesting to see how that works. Jurisdiction and venue, they're going to say it's proper because Dominion put their voting systems in Michigan or in Minnesota. Look, when I talk about 2M states, they're going to get complicated. It's just going to happen. Factual allegations. We're going to hit the headers. Power is tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. George Orwell, 1984. Somebody keep a tally of how many 1984 quotes we get. So far, we're at 2. Play along at home. We're at 2. Let's see how many we get. Linda will prove that Dominion defendants acted in concert as part of an unlawful. They're the same business, though. They're the same business. So conspiracy-ish, I think, have weaponized the court system and the litigation process. The rise of the machines is the next header. You talk as if a god had made the machine. I believe that you pray to it when you are unhappy. Me and my iPhone. Kind of. Men made it. Do not forget that. E.M. Foster, the machine stops. Now look, if we're going with the rise of the machines, we need a quote from Terminator or we need a quote from The Matrix. I feel like we have missed the mark, and I am very, very disappointed. We have missed the mark. Voting machines. The Help America Vote Act of 2002, the voting machines. Voting machines. We haven't gotten to what the allegations are yet at all. We're still in the facts. We're 13 pages in. We're still at the facts. Strange bedfellows is the next header. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. William Shakespeare, The Tempest. Talking about Dominion and Smart Tech, I'm assuming with regard to their accused or alleged collusion. I'm confused. They both also execute software updates and fixes. Great. On the surface, they appear to be competitors in the market, but in reality, conspiracy. Where's the conspiracy? But in reality, they share many things in common. Yes, they make the same things, including an intertwined corporate history and shared DNA. Interesting. Of election management system, software, and hardware. They also share a common purpose of using litigation and lawfare, not warfare, lawfare, to silence any who would publicly criticize their security flaws. I mean, when criticism and defamation meet, they're going to sue. They think you've defamed them. All right. So they think that they are working together. We need the next header. We're 18 pages in. There are statistics. There's a list of emails. We're not getting into that. I saw the word USBs. Here we go. We're 23 pages in. We're still in the facts section. Ghosts in the machines. Ghosts in the machines. But you can't make people listen. They have to come around in their own time, wondering what happened and why the world blew up around them. It can't last. Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451. It's been a long time since I've read Fahrenheit 451. Ghosts in the machines. Look. As a result, they said these are allegations in a lawsuit. We are still in their factual complaint. They are still trying to tell the story of what they think happened. As a result of systematic and well-documented vulnerabilities in the software and hardware, widespread claims have been lodged by you. During the 2020 election, significant numbers of votes across the country were altered. But you're just saying things. Lindell was not the first to sound the alarm. Okay. Evidence of problems. Okay. Some states rejected Dominion voting softwares. Yes, they did. Okay. Ugh. During a December 30, 2020 live streamed hearing held by the Georgia Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Elections, a testifying expert hacked into a Dominion polling pad during a live broadcast to the world. Ooh, there's a link. That I would actually go see. There's a link. Dominion machines hacked live during Georgia election hearing. I mean, okay. That I might go watch. There's a link to the video. Interesting. All right, let's keep going. This is long. Do you guys want me to put this in a Dropbox so you can read it if you want to read it? Because this is long and I'm not reading the whole thing. But if you guys want links to all the things, I am happy to put it up for you. Now we're into the Diebold technology. Fantastic. There's quotes. There's articles. We still haven't gotten to any actual causes of action yet. We're still in their facts or in findings. I'm looking for the next heading to see what quote we have next. We're back in Texas, and why Texas didn't approve the voting systems. However, I don't know how this is apropos to anything. Ugh. Okay. There's pictures. Alarming number of voting. Okay, there's pictures. There's pictures. Oh, DEF CON. They actually hacked the voting machines in seconds at DEF CON. Is there a link to the DEF CON video? Interesting. Anyway, but that was in Las Vegas. I don't know if those were the same voting machines, but all right. In 2017, Dominion refused to respond to CNET. Okay, fine. I feel like they're just doubling down on, see, this is why we didn't defame you. We're not defaming you because it's true. And we're doubling down on not defaming you because it's true. We're just going to double down on it. We're just going to double down on it. On their truth as a defense. I don't know what this is. They're citing a documentary. Okay, cool. Screenshot from Facebook from the documentary. Perfect. We trust Facebook. Next header. We're in header D. How many pages? 43 pages. We're 43 pages in on header D. Gaslighting. The real big law. How many are we up to on 1984? And if all others accepted the lie which the party imposed, if all the records told the same tale, then the lie passed into history and became truth. Who controls the past, ran the party slogan, controls the future. Who controls the present, controls the past. George Orwell, 1984. I think we're now at 3. We're now at 3. Thank you, everybody. We are at 3 for 1984. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. More about the presidential election, more about Homeland Security. Let's see. We're still in the facts. We're still weaving a tale. This must have taken forever to put together. This is a very long tale of woe. There are lots of news articles cited, which is interesting. They are talking about Michigan and other lawsuits that have gone on. I still don't know what the causes of actions are. We're still just looking for an. Whoa, there's data. Blue curve, black line, red line. From Hennepin County, Minnesota, of course, because we heard about all of that. Blue line, red line, black. Who made the graph, though? Who's Douglas G. Frank? I have questions. Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Oh, there's lots of graphs. We're trying to prove a lot in this complaint. Like a lot. Dr. Frank's analysis for these states. Look, there's links to all kinds of YouTube video. Look, if you guys want to watch all of this, I will make this document available and you guys can go through all the links. Ooh, next heading, shut up or else. George Orwell. 1984. Oh, all right. Being in a minority, even a minority of one, did not make you mad. There was truth and there was untruth. Isn't that just falsity? Like facts and fuckery? There were facts and fuckery. Just kidding. And if you clung to the truth, even against the whole world, you were not mad. George Orwell, 1984. Well, now we know how Lindell and his attorney see this whole thing as being the harbinger of facts, which is how they clearly see it. This quote puts a pin right on that. Lindell has spoken out personally about Dominion, about electronic voting machines more generally, and the importance of election integrity. I think everyone can agree on election integrity. What people don't agree on is whether that has been corrupted or not. And Lindell has spoken accurately, well, that's an opinion, about these issues of great public concern. He has presented evidence backed by expert analysis, they say, to raise public awareness of election integrity issues, particularly related to the hacking. However, Dominion's true purpose was not to simply silence Lindell, but to silence anyone who might speak on election fraud. Well, they did file a lawsuit for $1 billion. More fundamentally, Dominion, in cahoots with Smart Tech, also seek to send a message to others. Shut up or else. Well, at least we've called it back. I mean, this feels like a blog post to me. Let's see if we get to actual like causes of action. Oh, Dominion has filed a $1.3 billion lawsuit against Cindy Powell. Dominion has filed a $1.3 billion lawsuit against Rudy Giuliani. Dominion has filed a $1.6 billion lawsuit against Fox News. Dominion has filed a $1.3 billion lawsuit against MyPillow and its CEO. Why didn't they just use his name? He's the plaintiff in this lawsuit. Blech. Yet Dominion's annual revenues are only about $90 million. So they're like, you can't have $1 billion in damages. You ain't even worth that much. Dominion's exaggerated lawsuits are not about damages it has suffered. They are designed to intimidate those who exercise their rights to free speech. They also grab headlines. Like $1 billion lawsuit grabs headlines. But you're doing the same thing using a lawsuit for headlines. So there's that. Dominion amplifies the effect of its exaggerated lawsuits with threatening letters and a publicity campaign. Hey, wait, I should just keep reading. Dominion has sent at least 150 attorney letters threatening with legal. So they've sent 150. When they say attorney letters, do we mean cease and desist? And do we mean cease and desist not like going on Twitter and being like, everyone cease and desist? Do we mean actual cease and desist, or attorney letters saying, by the way, be advised that what you're saying and the things that you are continuing to say are defamatory in our view. So the clear message of these letters is that, well, attach the letters. I would actually read that. The clear message of these letters is that anyone who comments publicly will be ruined. Ruined with $1 billion lawsuits. $1 billion. Oh, wait, is this the letter? Let's see, is this one of them? Another instance, Dominion sent an intimidating letter to the uncle of an attorney involved in litigation about the 2020 election. Oh, that's actually interesting. Uncle Bob. The uncle himself had no involvement, but for the circumstances of being related to someone investigating Dominion and the election. Dominion accused him of disseminating misinformation and making false accusations. The letter threatened litigation regarding these issues is imminent. That's interesting. If that is interesting. Look, unless the uncle was actually doing something. But you don't just go after the family of the lawyers involved in the thing. Lawyers do their jobs. But here we go. Our firm is defamation counsel to Dominion US Inc. This is from December 31st, 2020. Notice of obligation to preserve documents. Well, that's just saying don't delete shit. Don't delete shit. Look, notice to not delete your shit. It doesn't say cease and desist. Let's see if they say cease and desist. It might just say don't delete your shit. Our firm is defamation counsel to, I like that they have defamation counsel to Dominion. We write to you regarding the ongoing misinformation campaigns falsely accusing Dominion of somehow rigging or otherwise improperly influencing the outcome of the election. In recent days, we sent letters to Sidney Powell and various media entities demanding retraction of their myriad defamatory and conspiratorial claims about Dominion. Dominion is prepared to defend its good name and set the record straight. Litigation regarding these issues is imminent. Okay, well, that doesn't say what you said it said. They're saying litigation regarding the other people is imminent. This sentence C, this does not say what the letter says it says. Ugh. Which is why I say plainly, if true, because as we're getting into the heart of this letter is saying, hey, litigation against them is imminent. Like, let's not read into things. Or is this whole thing reading into things? Because this is reading into things. Litigation regarding these issues is imminent. This letter is your formal notice to cease and desist taking part in defaming Dominion. Okay, so it is a cease and desist. And to preserve all documents and communications that may be relevant to Dominion's pending legal claims, which I read as being related to the others that were mentioned above. Accordingly, you must ensure that you and your principals, agents, subcontractors, agency employees, blah, 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 and all sources are preserving and retaining emails, text messages, including messages sent over messaging platforms such as WhatsApp, audio-visual recordings, voicemails, drafts, notes, communications. So this is mostly a preserved letter. Without any limitation, this requires you to preserve all drafts. I wonder if the uncle works in the same law firm, though, because I'm very curious. And then they go into there's probably a second page. I see a staple. Where's the rest of it? I want to read it. I have questions. So again, they're reading a lot into that letter from my perspective. Another individual, an actuary, performed statistical analyses inquiring whether the presence of Dominion voting machines affected election. Okay, whatever. We found non-random differences. I want to know what this is. Dominion mailed him a box pictured below full of legal papers, which included lawsuits filed against other citizens, along with threatening cease and desist letter as a result of speaking out. The actuary lost business. Wait, did Dominion send him like all the lawsuits in a box? They're saying that Dominion sent him a box of lawsuits, essentially saying you're next. Like now we've gotten to like movie style with like a severed head in your bed. It's like, here are the lawsuits. You're next. That is what they are accusing Dominion of. I can't see this letter. I can't see what this stack of pictures is, but that's a fascinating allegation. A national televised interview. Dominion CEO announced our legal team is looking at frankly everyone, and we're not ruling anybody out. Okay. The defamation goes far and wide, and we will find everyone. Everyone. We need another header, and we need actual causes of action. What? This is talking about the Smart Tech. Oh, Smart Tech on February 4th filed a $2.7 billion lawsuit in New York against Fox News, Lou Dobbs, Maria, Bartiromo? I don't know. Janine, somebody, former Trump attorneys, Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. That sounds like they're all in it together, but I didn't realize there was another $2.7 billion lawsuit. Lindell, they say we're in paragraph 118, 64 pages in, and we haven't gotten to causes of action. Lindell is a victim of this conspiracy and enterprise by Dominion and Smart Tech to attempt to silence him by abusing the litigation process. We've said this a lot. I am what I am not getting into the big lie. What is even happening? Why are we quoting Mein Kampf in a fucking lawsuit? I cannot. What is happening in this lawsuit right now? What is happening? What is happening? I cannot. I think they quoted, no, they're saying that specifically, he has suffered reputational harm from being called the perpetrator of the big lie. And then they are saying that that is a term coined by Hitler. So they are saying that Mike Lindell's attorneys are saying that Dominion is comparing Mike Lindell to Hitler. We've gotten there. We are 64 pages in, and that's where we are. Okay. Okay. I don't know what to do with that. So they're saying are they alleging defamation? They publicly vilified him as a liar, a conspiracy theorist, and a purveyor of baseless false information. So is there a defamation claim coming up? This is crazy. I'm just looking for another header. Oh, holy shit. Causes of action. We're there. Y'all, we've made it. We've made it through the woods. Y'all, we've survived. We're to causes of actions. Intrepid explorers. High five. I was not, look, I have not read this whole thing. I was going to look for headers with y'all. This is a lot. This is a lot. This is why I don't cover this stuff. This is a lot. But the quotes and the fact that the lawyer had to leave his law firm had me fascinated, and I'm still fascinated by the quotes. Causes of action. Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 + 2 makes 4. If that is granted, all else follows. George Orwell, 1984. I think that quote is out of line because freedom to say the truth is not what's being argued here. They're being argued that this is arguing over what is actually the truth and who is saying it. Freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 make 4. But that is a fact. I don't know how many facts we have. Okay. The facts alleged above and to be proven at trial demonstrate that plaintiff is entitled to recover damages for abusive process against Dominion. So they're saying they're abusing the court process. Okay. Defamation there. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Defamation. We thought that was there. Felt like it was coming, but they cross-claimed them for defamation and something else. I'm going to have to go look at that. I don't know how you cross-claim them for defamation and then sue them again for defamation. Are there different defamations? Are there multiple lawsuits over the same defamations? Which, no. I've got questions. Is this new defamation? Is it not alleged in the other defamation suit? Because he's already sued them for defamation. So why are we suing them again for defamation? Why are we suing them again for the same thing? Under Minnesota law, a statement is actual. Well, look, we're getting a defamation lawsuit in Minnesota. Y'all wanted a defamation lawsuit in Minnesota? Here it is. Here is a defamation lawsuit in Minnesota that is absolutely bananas. Bananas. This shit is bananas. Bananas. All right. Under Minnesota law, a statement is actionable as defamation if it is 1, false, 2, communicated to a third party, 3, tended to harm the plaintiff's reputation or to lower that person in the estimation of the community. They are forgetting that he is a public figure. Where is the rest of it? Because there has to be malice. I have questions. Defamation that affects a plaintiff in its business, trade, profession, office, or calling is defamation per se and is actionable without proof of actual damages. Interesting that that's their defamation per se, which is actually more beneficial than the Minnesota or the Washington defamation per se, because it damages you in the business. It doesn't just allege a crime. Interesting. Oh, so this is where the big lie comes back. Dominion defendants have defamed plaintiff Lindell per se by calling him a liar and purveyor of the big lie in the DC lawsuit. Ah, there it is. They called him the purveyor of the big lie in the DC lawsuit. However, that's a privileged communication because it's in the course of a lawsuit. So I don't know how it's got to be an unprivileged statement. I have a question about the rest of the Minnesota statute here because it's not privileged. Maybe privilege doesn't come into their statute. We're going to have to look up their statute in a second. I have some more questions. Labeling a private citizen a liar. Oh no, Mike Lindell, you're a public figure, boo-boo. You are, there is no way that Mike Lindell is not a public figure. There are pictures of him at the White House. There is no way that you are a private citizen. I have a feeling that this is not the defamation. The defamation that they have cited here is not what's going to apply because public figure, it's going to have to be non-privileged. Labeling a private citizen a liar is defamation per se. Okay, well, okay. All right. Count 3, violations of the, RICO. We have RICO. Y'all have been asking when we're going to get into some RICO. Here we go, yo. It's in here. Violations of the Racketeer Influenced and Corruption Organization Act. Okay. Let's see. Plaintiff incorporates the foregoing. Yep. To establish a civil RICO claim, the plaintiff must show that defendant engaged in one conduct of an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity and that they sustained injury to business or property that was caused by the RICO violation. I don't know how they're going to show this. Yeah. We know what an enterprise is. I don't know how we're going to get to the RICO claims, but I'm going to let you all read this because we're 70 pages in. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. The two defendants, Smart Tech and Dominion, with the assistance of non-party co-conspirator, their lawyers are part of the RICO action. With the participation and assistance of non-party co-conspirator Claire Locke LLP, the lawyers constituted an association in fact enterprise having the common purpose of suppressing dissent to the use of electronic voting machines and suppressing demands for investigations. Fascinating. RICO. I wasn't expecting that. Look, I told you it was long. I just wanted to see the sassy headings. I'm fascinated. All right. Count 4, violations of the support and advocacy clause of 42 USC 1985 as to all defendants. The support and advocacy clause provides as follows. If 2 or more persons conspire to prevent by force, intimidate, or threat any citizen who is lawfully entitled to vote from giving his support or advocacy in a legal manner toward or in favor or the election of any lawful qualified person as an elector for president or vice. Oh, they're alleging that because the votes may have been changed, that it was stopping people from exercising their rights to vote. I think that's the direction they're going in with this. A cause of action under the support and advocacy clause requires showing 2 or more persons who conspire to prevent by force, intimidation, or threat a citizen lawfully entitled to vote from giving support or advocacy in a legal manner toward or in favor of the election of a lawfully qualified elector for president or vice president, or injure any citizen or property on account of their support or advocacy towards or in favor of the election of a lawfully qualified elector for president or vice president. One or more acts in furtherance of object of such conspiracy where plaintiff suffers injury to property property or person, or deprivation of having and exercising any right or privilege. I don't know how that's going to play out. I am just okay. I don't even know if we can deep dive this. I'm going to see what the court does with it first, and then we'll circle back. We'll circle back on it. Count 5, deprivation of civil rights by actions under color of state law. So going to go to a deprivation of voting again. Has standing to bring a claim, rights secured by the oh no, that's under First Amendment. All right. So is being impeded on by legal process. I don't know if you can do that, but we'll see what the court does. Civil conspiracy. To establish a conspiracy claim, yes, engage in a campaign of abuse. So they conspired against him to deprive him of his First Amendment rights while acting under color of state law. It'll be interesting to see if we get to them determining whether these companies that provided voting machines are acting under color of state law, meaning they're essentially acting as state agents. I'll tell you what I'm interested to see in just a second as we get to the end of this, and what I'll be looking for if it even gets that far in the court. Damages and other relief. Oh my God, 80 pages in, we're almost done. Jesus. Actual and special damages for attorney's fees and expenses, damages for the defendant for defamation per se, 3 times damages for violations of 8, treble damages for violations of 18 USC 1862, punitive damages, attorney's fees, conditions precedent. That must be a Minnesota thing. All conditions precedent to plaintiff bringing and maintaining this action have been satisfied or waived, which means there's nothing they had to do. There's no hoops they had to jump through before bringing this suit. And if there were, they're done. Jury demand, prayer for relief, after damages and other relief. And then now it'll be interesting to see, because this firm has removed themselves as counsel and removed themselves as local counsel. So Douglas and Daniels is a Texas firm that's probably dealing with all of the other things. So they're pro hoc vice, meaning they're pending coming into Minnesota. So they need local counsel. Alec J. Beck came in with Barnes and Thornburg as local counsel, and they've already yeeted themselves off of this case, and Beck is no longer with their firm. So it'll be interesting to see who subs in as local counsel, because Douglas A. Daniels of Daniels and Tredenbeck or Tredenneck or Trednick, I don't know, them will have to have local counsel. I am so curious. Okay. Things I'm curious to find. Because it's a defamation suit, could we end up, and I don't know if we will, could we end up with a defamation suit like what we saw in the UK, where there is actually court proceedings and a trial over fact and whether it's true and whether it is true or not true? Because at the end of the day, it's not defamation if what Dominion is alleged to have said is accurate. And so it's also not defamation against Dominion if what he said is accurate. So this whole lawsuit is going to boil down to a big fight over, well, my statements were true or my statement was true. And I am floored by some of the charges in here. As we started getting in, I was like, oh, civil conspiracy, RICO. Interesting. I will keep an eye on this one. Look, I don't love covering political stuff. I think this is, because it's going through process, I'm actually interested to see if these abusive process claims for statements made that are alleged to be defamatory in another lawsuit, I'm interested to see what the court does with that, because generally other lawsuits are covered by litigation privilege. They're not going to be defamation. So I will be interested to see how the process goes on with this case and what the court does with it procedurally. They're also saying that the lawyers for the voting systems were involved in this RICO claim. I will be keeping an eye. I'm curious to see how the courts parse this, and see how the courts parse defamation alleged in the course of another lawsuit without getting into the deep allegations. But we might see them trying to be like, okay, now we've got a court saying, hey, do we have to determine these these voting allegations to determine if this is defamation or not. And I don't think in this lawsuit we'll get there, because in this lawsuit, the first step in the analysis is something said in the course of another lawsuit actually defamatory with regard to that statement. And that's what I'm most interested in with this. Other than the use of quotes and what's going to happen with local counsel, because now local counsel's been removed. So those are the things I'm most interested to see. This is fascinating stuff. Abusive process is very interesting. And if there is abusive process found here, I'll be very interested to see how the court gets to there. Because again, this is insane. And there are so many lawsuits still going on out of the 2020 election. We're just gonna see. We're just gonna see. I didn't think this would take so long. We're an hour and 40 minutes in. I'm going to buzz the tower on Yale Law and then come back. No, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save Yale Law to Friday, because I got curious and kept going. Let's do questions. Let's just get to questions. I'm sorry. I'll take Yale Law out of the title. No, I'm going to touch on it real quick. Let me re-swoop. Real quick. We're going to touch on it real quick, and then we're going to get to the rest of it on Friday. So let me pull that up really fast. I got way too interested in this lawsuit. I thought I was going to get through it much quicker. I really poorly estimate my use of time and how long I talk about things. Always. Intelligencer, there are other articles. I will get into this in more of a deep dive on Friday, but this very interesting article from June 7th, yesterday, The Tiger Mom and the Hornet's Nest for 2 decades, Amy Chua and Jen Rubinfield. Rubinfield? Is that a B or? I want to say Ruddenfield, but I think it's Rubinfield, but dyslexic, and these things are hard for me. Were Yale Law power brokers. A new generation wants to see them exiled. So the new law students at Yale have, look at this article, y'all. We're going to have to go through it all on Friday. Have levied a very long series of complaints against these two, and about both of them are under disciplinary action from Yale. She has been removed from teaching small groups to 1Ls. She says that she did not do what they're saying she did. People are saying that she was involved in these booze-fueled parties at the home, helping place certain students with certain judgeships and with certain internships and clerkships and things like that. So Yale they were power brokers at Yale, which is interesting. So Yale, I didn't know this. Only 200 students enroll each year, less than half of Harvard's 1L class. I didn't realize Yale was such an intimate environment in law school. 200 is small. The students are set afloat on even smaller boats of 16 to 18 students for small groups, captained by a single faculty member who introduces them to the world of law and Yale Law School. So she's been removed from that assignment based on the allegations of booze-fueled parties through these articles and others. She's also, again, the author of Battle Hem of the Tiger Mom, which, if you were around in 2011, know that it is kind of her story of a very different type of tough love parenting that comes from her Chinese roots, as she describes it. So her husband has been barred from contact with students and blocked from teaching, and she has still been having students over, they're alleging, to party at her house with alcohol, but a committee at the university found that he was sexually harassing students. So if your husband's sexually harassing students and has been removed, what you can't do is have students over to drink at your house. I'm presuming this is the house. This is an image, all of its own. So at first, she planned to stay quiet, she says, until her daughter Lulu, the rebellious cub and tiger mom, now a law student herself, encouraged her to defend herself publicly. She published a 67-page PDF of glowing letters from students, some of whom she concedes were about to be graded by her, and her own incensed letters to the faculty. She tweeted her way from New Haven into a national cancel culture martyrdom, defended by the likes of, I don't know who Barry Weiss is, and Megyn Kelly, who claimed Chua was really being punished for championing Brett Kavanaugh. So this is also going to start mixing into politics. The text message depicts students who believe going to Chua's house would score them a clerkship. Faculty members I spoke to have mixed feelings about it. There's a weird schism among the students where they want the place to be utterly transparent and utterly equitable, mused one who is sympathetic to the critique, but they also want to keep the prestige and privilege that the place affords. 3 other professors told me that Chua is the victim of overzealous Zoomers who have confused the natural hierarchy of achievement and her right to favor whom she wants with a social justice outrage. There are a lot of mediocre students at Yale who were superstars in their little country fairs, and now they're in the Kentucky Derby and they're not winning their races, and they feel like it's unfair because other students are doing better, said one faculty member who thinks the dean was too deferential to students in how she handled the small groups. As dean, said the dean, I have a responsibility to create a community in which all of our students can thrive. When a faculty member violates our rules and norms, it undermines all the good that comes from an environment where faculty respect and support our students. Not all the faculty respect and support your students, because whoever gave this quote about the Kentucky Derby thinks that your students are whiny little brats who need to do better. So there is a rift going on at Yale Law, and I am sure there are rifts going on about law schools elsewhere where you've got this, it seems to me that Yale Law is promoting that it is a smaller, more hands-on environment for people who want to change the world. 200 is a small class, and then you're put into these 18-member groups and kind of handheld through law school. And then people are like, hey, but what you're doing is not fair. You shouldn't be having, it feels like Harry Potter. Who was the professor that was having the students to dinner? And if you got invited in the dinner club, you were like in. And then if you weren't in the dinner club, you were out. That feels very much like what's happening here. But in law school, some students are going to be at the top and some students are going to be at the bottom. That is how academia is. This is fascinating. We're going to dive into this more. The Slughorn, thank you. The boozy parties once your husband is disciplined is more of a problem for me than the fact that some students are going to be given preferential treatment. The Slug Club, thank you. You got law nerds, y'all are the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Slughorn and the Slug Club is exactly what I was thinking of. So, I think now we're going to get to questions. We'll do a deeper dive into, do you guys want to do a deeper dive into Tiger Mom on Friday? Because I want to get to questions and we're running out of time. I talked a lot today. Now questions. But yeah, we'll do a deep dive. Sandra, hello. Question. Why would the attorney file the suit and sign their name, then quit? Why not just quit rather than file? Oh, I don't think they quit. I think they were asked to leave. So the Mike Lindell attorney was asked by his firm to go. The firm said, here, let me pull up that article real quick from the ABA. There were others as well, but the ABA journal indicated that he left the firm after filing the suit, and the firm indicated that they are withdrawing as local counsel on the matter. Beck is no longer with the firm, and that they did not give him authority to file the lawsuit. So I don't think they're going to come out and say that they fired him, but tell me you've been fired without telling me you've been fired is we've left the firm, but we didn't approve what he did. So in another article on Bloomberg Law that I didn't have a chance to pull up, the law firm said, quote, late last night, firm management became aware of the filing of the complaint, which was done without receiving authorization pursuant to internal firm approval procedures. The statement said the firm has withdrawn as local counsel in this matter and has ended the client relationship. and the relationship with the attorney that was working for them. Lindell's complaint in a Minnesota federal court, which is peppered with quotes from Orwell's classic 1984, alleges that the company sued Lindell earlier this year, to try to intimidate him. Lindell has repeatedly claimed that security flaws in Dominion and Smart Tech election voting machines influenced the outcome of the election. And then it goes on to kind of reiterate what we've said. Beck, whose bio is no longer available on the website, late Friday joined the firm in 2019, according to the statement. He was touted as having more than 30 years of labor and employment law experience. Do you think he's going to turn around and sue the firm for having 30 years of experience? Beck's other clients have included Inspire Brands, KinderCare Corporation, and a Radisson hotel at the Mall of America, according to a search of Bloomberg Law dockets. So I think the firm was like, what you're going to do is go, and we're not going to say we fired you. So, Christine, I read the New York Times article about this situation this morning, and even though Chua is controversial, it seems as though evidence doesn't bear out that she's guilty of what she's being accused of. It may not. The lawyer in the Intelligencer, or the other professor in the Intelligencer article, says that she's the victim of overzealous Zoomers. And I'm curious to see if she is. So we will dive into that. And she may not have done it. They're talking about whether she had these parties and stuff. She's saying she didn't. So yes, thank you for bringing it up. Yes, we are going to dive into it for sure. So deep diving, Tiger dives deep. We'll do a deeper dive. Okay, we'll do a deeper dive on Friday because I didn't realize I would run out of time. And I've run well out of time on a Tuesday, which bums me out. And if I didn't have a call after this, we would go for it. AM, doth thou yeeted from thy firm? Yes, thou doth yeeted from thy firm. Well played, and yes. He had to take an early retirement. I think he can practice on his own. Like, you don't need a firm to practice. You generally need the support. It is very hard to practice on your own in a large way, like big law. But we'll see where he lands. Question, have you read the CK lawsuit? I think she's a YouTuber, does a podcast. I have not read the CK lawsuit. I do not know who CK is. But I will always put things on the list to look into. Question, will you be covering the Drake Bell trial soon or not yet until there's more information? I haven't seen much information on it at all. I will keep an eye on it, but I do not have enough information to really dive into it just yet. We have a lot to cover. And we've got Amanda Ensing has made more comments on Instagram about her Sephora suit. What's her face? Haley Page has made more comments on Instagram about her lawsuit and about her appeal. Like, there's these suits keep moving. It's like chug-a-lug. Pump's question, how does the law expect us to know the whole law when we are never taught the law unless we choose at a later age and we have to follow the law before we read it? I agree with you. I think that is one of the problems with access to law and law being difficult. Ignorance of the law is not a defense is the problem, and it is onerous to the people to understand what you can and cannot do, which is problematic and why I do what I do, so that we can all understand the things. That's literally my purpose. Understand, evaluate, change. That is why I'm here, to help everybody understand. Question from Ashley McIntyre. Could this attorney get sanctioned? I'm assuming by this, you mean the attorney in the Lindell suit. I don't know if he could get sanctioned because if it's completely and utterly meritless, maybe, but they are going to say, no, there's defamatory statements here. So at least on that, those statements aren't meritless, whether you can do them in the way that they're trying to do them. I think it would be hard because the suit the suit's better than the Triller suit. But I didn't see a lot of dates and times, gotta be honest, but we'll see. Anything is possible, but it doesn't seem completely bottom of the barrel frivolous. It seems that they are alleging this abusive process. They have a reason that they're alleging it. Whether the judge will yeet it out, maybe, maybe not, and we'll see. but they can't be sanctioned for going against their firm's internal policies. They got fired, or they mutually agreed to walk away for that. I'm going to try to get, oh, my chat just jumped. I'm going to try to get to a few more questions. I see some of you are behind the thing, because I'm just seeing some of the Slughorn stuff come in. So let me see. Question: with the Dominion case, could voting machines become a government machine versus a private company machine? I don't know quite what you're asking. I think part of the reason they use private companies is A, because the money's there, and B, because it gives states the rights to choose what the voting machines are versus the federal government being like, this is what you must do. It lets each state make that decision. So I don't know how that would play out if the federal government, I think a lot of states wouldn't like it at all. If the federal government was like, you must use these voting machines, I think that would creep people out too. So I think the reason it's private company is to still give states choice, because each state has to implement their own voting laws. So yeah, that's why. Slughorn. Oh, Critical K. Thank you. I have not seen that. My apologies. I'm gonna chat jumped. I'm gonna try to get to a few more questions. Oh, Court of Public Opinion. I forgot to put it up on social, so it's gonna go up today. And when it goes up today, I'm going to put up 2 articles, one arguing for, if you haven't seen Friday's Court of Public Opinion, it's time stamped, but one arguing for Ariel being allowed to breach the contract with Ursula, and one arguing Ursula's side. And then we will do Court of Public Opinion on that, and I will give the ruling on Friday. And then on Friday, we will have a new Court of Public Opinion. So I appreciate that. Let me see. I love that you guys are chatting. I'm trying to keep up. Let's see. Thank you for being a fun outlet while I finish up my paralegal certification. You're welcome. I would ask people how they feel about using quotes, literary quotes, in lawsuits. I think it's a great topic of conversation. It's a discussion that I'm fascinated about. Pumps, thank you. You guys go ahead and do the YouTube things for sure. We have still over 2,000 people in. We are getting close to this turning over to 130,000. So can you do a separate video, just the Ariel Ursula discussion? I mean, I can. It's time stamped. I could clip it out. We could do that. But then I would have to go clip it out. I might do one just arguing the 2 sides after we finish Court of Public Opinion. Question: what happens to the piece of work by the fired attorney since it was filed, quotes and all? Does he continue on the case, present it in court, or what? I'll look into it and answer that on Friday. He can remain on the case. The law firm has withdrawn. He could remain. And there's also 2 law firms on it. So he can remain on as local counsel for the Texas law firm. And I'm sure that he will. Question: have you seen the videos Jessie Smile released about her phone call with Gabby Hanna? If so, what do you think? I did see them. I don't know the whole backstory of the Gabby Hanna Jessie Smiles. I have not caught up on the commentary videos to catch up on the whole background there. I don't know why it's popping off now. I don't know what happened that popped it off now. But what I did see was Gabby Hanna, I think, gaslighting Jessie Smiles. I know they're clips of conversations, which is hard without the entire context of the conversation. I appreciate that Jessie posted that they both consented to recording before she released it. So I live for that. Like, yes, consent to record. It seems that they have a tumultuous history together. A lot of information has come out about Gabby Hanna lately that is, it raises concerns for sure. So I will be watching the commentary community breaking down about it, or breaking it down, not breaking down about it. They're not, oh my God, Gabby Hanna. No, I will watch them breaking down. I mean, maybe this is Gabby Hanna Dramageddon 5. Is that what's happening? Laura, have you considered doing another live a week. Oh, 3 lives a week. No, I haven't, because then the podcast wouldn't get out. If I start recording the podcast live, then maybe, but it already is a lot of research that goes into keeping up on the topics and keeping up on the lawsuits. I don't know if I could get it done and still get the podcast out every week. So, yep. I'm sure Peter has great breakdowns. I have not gotten behind it. Aye. That's how I hear that in my head. I hope that's how it's meant. Aye. I have not seen any updates on the James Charles employment lawsuit because it is going up on appeal, and that's what's going to be happening. That suit's going to be paused on appeal, and the Haley Page suit's going to be paused on appeal. We're going to dive into Haley Page's employment side of the lawsuit because she's also suing JLM, and we haven't gotten into that, so that's coming. Tomorrow there will be a new episode of the podcast. Tomorrow I will be live in the evening over on Eric Hunley's channel, and I will share that. Where can I find the podcast? I have trouble finding it on Apple. Just put in the Emily Show on Apple. It should come up. Otherwise, I can link it below for sure. So what do we have coming up? We have a new episode of the podcast, video and audio tomorrow. I will be live on Eric Hunley's channel tomorrow. Friday, we're going to get more into the Yale Law School drama. Now, since this article in Intelligencer was just released yesterday, I will be interested to see if there's a response between now and Friday. So we'll be keeping up with that. What else? And then I'll let you know what else for Friday. I don't have it on the top of my head. That's what I think is coming up the rest of the week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It is still Pride Month. We still have Pride merch for sale in the Law Nerd shop. So be sure, if you want to do that, do that. The text crew is growing. You are welcome to join us if you are in North America. If you are not in North America, we are working on it. I am sorry. We are working on it. It is a company that I use, and they are working on expanding it to other countries. So we will be doing that. But if you are not on the text crew, you can just be on social at the Emily D. Baker. I update Twitter and I update Instagram when I'm going live as well. The text crew just comes directly to your phone, and you don't have to be on social to see it. So for those of you that aren't on social and still want the updates, that's where it is. And then for all of you that are at the top level of our membership, there will be a Zoom call. I am so late on the Zoom call. I'm sorry. I'm going to put a poll up for just you in the community tab to pick a time, because what I'm trying to do is do one during the week on the evening, and then one in a time that is more comfortable for our international crew, to make sure that everybody who is a member at that tier can get on the Zoom call at a time that kind of works for everybody. So thank you for being here. I love seeing all of you law nerds every week for Coffee and Cursey Words. I will be back Friday for, well, more Yale Law School drama. There's definitely a lot more coming out about that, I'm sure, and I'll keep my eye on it. And then, if you guys enjoyed Lawyers in the News, let me know, and we will do more Lawyers in the News segments where instead of just talking about the cases and the litigants, we actually talk about the lawyers that are doing the things out on the street, and they won't always be bad. I hope it won't always be lawyers flipping off the appeals court and getting sanctioned for it, but sometimes. So let me know in the comments and in the chat if you loved Lawyers in the News, and we will do that probably monthly, I think, and keep it moving. So thank you all. I will talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. I've got a phone call, so I have got to bounce. A huge thank you to the mods, as always, and a thank you to the lovely law nerds who made sure that our chat was not Thunderdome and that we can talk about facts without the fuckery. Thank you. You are the best. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just text Emily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube.